In this lecture, we'll explore the spot removal tool in Lightroom. First, we'll need to load the image that we'll be working with for this exercise. The image file name is portrait001.jpg. I'm going to command click the BMW collection to remove that filter so I can see all my images in the thumbnail scroller. Now click on this image here. Change the magnification size of this image to a 1:1 ratio in your navigator. This way we can clearly see the spots we'll be removing. Hold your left mouse button down and drag the face so it fills up most of the preview area. You'll notice that there's some freckles on the skin over here. And these are in different areas. We'll be using the spot removal tool to remove as many of these as we can. So let's go ahead and click the spot removal tool to activate it. Once you do, you'll notice a bunch of options appear in the adjustments panel. Before we use the spot removal tool, it's important to note that sometimes it can be challenging to find all the areas where you'd like to apply the spot removal. For example, there might be certain freckles or other spots that we can't see clearly with our eye. If you do run into this type of situation, place a check mark in this checkbox here, in the Visualize Spots checkbox. What this does is Lightroom converts the image into a black and white composite which highlights most of the spots for you. If you move this slider left to right, you can get a higher degree of contrast between what Lightroom interprets as the regular skin tone versus spots on the skin tone. To remove this feature, just go ahead and click the checkbox again, and you'll be back to the original image. Make sure on your options panel that you have the heal option selected and not clone. We'll work with clone in the next lecture. Now select a brush size of about 50 to 60 pixels. And if you'd like to get a visual of your brush size, just position your cursor anywhere in the preview area and you can see exactly how large the brush is. Also set the feather setting to 0% and the opacity to 100%. Now go ahead and click on any one of the spots you'd like to remove first. I'll go ahead and remove this one. You'll notice that as soon as I click, the spot is removed and 2 white circles are left on your image. The first white circle encompasses the spot that we wanted to remove. This tells us exactly where the removal has been applied. The second circle determines which texture will be used to fill in that spot area. In this case, we removed a freckle using part of the skin texture that has very similar lighting, tone, and clarity, but of course with no freckle. Lightroom has also made this replacement even more accurate by using its built-in algorithm to match the tones as closely as it can. If you wanted to use a different part of the image to fill in the spot, you can move this second white circle to any position you'd like. You do have to be careful because if you select an area that does not match the skin texture, then it's going to reflect in the image as you can see here. Now if you'd like to expand or contract the size of the spot removal perimeter, hold your left mouse button down on the outline of the circle and you can drag up and down, and that'll increase or decrease the size of the area. You can remove multiple spots simply by clicking on all the spots you want to remove. I'm just going to make my brush size a little bit smaller. I find it's a little bit too big. The key in choosing the right brush size is you want to make sure it covers the spot completely with just a little bit of a margin around the spot. And I'll put the crosshair directly on the spot. Let me zoom in just a bit more so you can see more clearly. So I'll go ahead and click all the areas we want to remove. And that time it didn't go all that well, so I'll go to Edit, Undo. And I'll try that again. So this time it chose a different location, which is what we wanted. Now you'll notice that each time we click on any one of these spots, we're getting a lot of these white circles where we've applied the spot removal. This does help keep track of all the areas you've adjusted, but in some cases you may find them distracting. So if you want to remove them, you can go to the Tool Overlay menu and change it from auto to any of these three options. Never will remove all of them, and you'll never see them. Selected will only show the one that you're currently working on, and always will have each one of them on the screen at all times. I'll go ahead and change it back to auto because I don't mind them there. Now I'm going to zoom back out just so we can see the final result. So as you can see, Lightroom did a very good job in removing those spots. And I'll just go back to never one more time and show you the before and after. Okay, and we'll see you in the next lecture where we'll be going over the clone tool.